What you want to do? What you want to do? From here?
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah, I'm from here.
All right, so...
Oh, hell, y'all, let's go.
4 young men were in this car when they were shot. The vehicle pulled up to their Chevy sedan, opened fire, then took off.
Can't nobody stop it but him. You know what I mean? I've already had the conversation. I've already made my peace with it. Because I know that energy. I was that energy.
Imagine being born into riches, a mansion, flashy cars, private schools, designer fits, the kind of lifestyle most people can only dream of. Yet, somehow, King Harris, the son of rap icon T.I. and Tiny, tossed all that aside just to chase a street image he was never built for. And trust me, the way he's spiraling, it's one of the most shocking turns hip-hop has ever seen. King had every opportunity laid out before him. A family name with weight, access to the industry, and a life of comfort. But instead of embracing that and leveling up, he's been running from it, trying to prove he's a gangster. The wildest part, he doesn't just want to step out of his family's shadow, he wants to burn the whole legacy down. We've all seen him moving reckless, desperate to look real, threatening folks at fast food spots, flashing gang signs online, picking fights with strangers. It's like he's determined to prove he's from the struggle when he's really not. Anyone with common sense can see this isn't survival. This is performance. That infamous night still follows him, when he allegedly threatened to pistol whip a Waffle House worker over something small. And let's not forget the Atlanta parking lot scene, where he nearly pulled a gun after a heated argument with random dudes. These aren't teenage outbursts, they're reckless stunts that could have ended lives. But King didn't stop there. Instead of helping those with less, he once filmed himself paying a homeless man to do the deadly one-chip challenge without water. A challenge linked to hospital visits and even deaths. He laughed at the man's pain, treating it like a joke. That moment exposed everything. Not grit, not toughness, just a tasteless stunt to keep up a fake tough guy persona. Even his own father, T.I., had to step in and tell him straight up, chill out with this gangster act. Imagine that. Being raised by one of Atlanta's biggest hip-hop legends, a man who built his career on respect and survival and still brushing off his advice like it's nothing. The drama hit another level when King sat down in an interview and basically tried to rewrite history. He swore up and down that he wasn't privileged, claiming he grew up at his grandma's house in the hood. But the internet wasn't having it, and because the receipts are crystal clear, this boy grew up in a gated mansion dripping in luxury. And then came the moment that blew up his story completely. His mom, Tiny, went live during an Atlanta Falcons game and flat out said the only reason King ever went to his grandma's house was because he begged to go, not because he was raised there. That live moment was humiliating, and it shattered the little credibility he had left. His whole hood narrative got exposed as nothing more than a fantasy. Instead of owning up, King doubled down. He started lashing out, talking about standing on business and pushing this tough persona even harder. But here's the problem. When you play with street culture without knowing the real rules, you're asking for trouble. And trouble is exactly what found him. King aimed his energy at the wrong target. Jacksonville rapper Foolio, one of Florida's most feared and respected names in the game. When Foolio's name got tied into King's antics, people across the map who didn't even know King before suddenly tuned in. The beef went mainstream, and King had no idea the storm he just invited into his world. Foolio didn't waste a second before clowning King online, writing, "I don't get why you want to be gangster. You grew up with a silver spoon, and that hit hard because it was the truth. King's been running from privilege like it's a curse. Instead of brushing it off, King tried to flip the script. He fired back, challenging Foolio to step into a boxing ring, posting training clips like he was the next Mike Tyson. But let's be real. Everybody knew he wasn't ready for that smoke. Foolio wasn't impressed one bit. He clapped back with a chilling warning, "Find you something productive to do before you'll be watching Netflix in heaven." That one line shook social media. It was a reminder that the streets don't play pretend. King had just barked at a man whose reputation came from real pain, real loss, and real violence, not some Instagram storyline. The internet lit up instantly. People dragged King for aiming at the wrong target. Tweets poured in, saying things like, "Your dad can't save you this time," and "He's gonna get T.I. caught up in something messy." Even fans who never touch rap beef commentary were warning King. He was in way over his head. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Just hours after Foolio was tragically killed in Jacksonville, King jumped on Instagram with a cryptic story. "Y'all be safe out here." Some took it as shade, others thought it was finally sinking in. But either way, the post threw gasoline on the fire. People begged him to step back, reminding him this isn't a movie, it's real life. Comments piled up saying, "Foolio checked him not too long ago. Don't make yourself a target," and "This ain't rap lyrics, these are body counts." And that's the danger. King is chasing an image built on chaos, without grasping the deadly price that comes with it. The streets of Jacksonville prove one thing loud and clear. This lifestyle doesn't end with clout, it ends with funerals. Foolio wasn't just another name in rap beefs, he was a soldier in the deadly war between ATK and KTA, two rival crews whose battles have left a trail of bodies for years. And the music born out of that war? It's not just rap, it's what people call murder rap, where every lyric is a coded message about who's already gone and who might be next. So when people see King Harris, a rich celebrity kid trying to insert himself into that world, it doesn't just look embarrassing, it looks suicidal. Digging into Jacksonville's scene makes it crystal clear why so many are warning King to step away. This feud that swallowed Foolio, Young Gene Ace, ATK, and KTA isn't internet drama. It's one of the deadliest rap wars in the country.
Smoke came out of nowhere, went crazy, kind of made it more mainstream to where people who don't even know y'all, they were tapped into it.
I took it too far when they made a song first. Speaking of, once the dead get involved, it's already too far.
Corbin Johnson was last seen alive in July of last year. Then last Friday, a man discovered the victim's skeletal remains.
And you still talking inside, though. You still talking inside, though. Why you inside? Can't stop me from doing it.
And the chilling part? The music turned tragedy into entertainment, spreading bloodshed far beyond Florida's streets. It really blew up in 2021 when Young Gene Ace dropped Who I Smoke, one of the most disrespectful tracks the internet has ever seen. Instead of a hard beat, he flipped Vanessa Carlton's soft piano ballad 1,000 Miles into a taunting anthem, bragging over the deaths of rivals. The video showed rappers on a golf course, cigars lit, dancing, name-dropping their dead enemies like it was a joke. Within a month, the song hit 16 million views, making Jacksonville's street war a nationwide spectacle. Foolio couldn't let that slide. He came back even darker, remixing a Fantasia record and turning it into pure disrespect. In his video, he held up giant posters of Ace's fallen friends, including his own blood brother, murdered in a drive-by. That wasn't just music. It was a funeral turned into a diss track. It showed how deep the hatred ran and how far gone the violence was. From then on, every release wasn't just a song, it was a weapon. And what makes it even more haunting? Many of these rappers were blood-related. Family ties couldn't stop the war, and every track only pulled more lives into the cycle. That's the world King is trying to flirt with, a world where every lyric carries real consequences and where death is the punchline. Blood relatives were split down the middle, forced to choose sides in a war that never forgave betrayal. Take Clout, for example. Once rolling with Foolio's 6-block crew, but when the lines were drawn, he flipped to ride with Young Gene Ace and ATK. That switch cut deep, and the streets never forgot it. After Foolio's brother Bibby was gunned down in 2019, Clout turned into the face of disrespect, flaunting Bibby's jerseys on Instagram like they were trophies, and even putting out an album cover plastered with the faces of the dead. Imagine losing your brother and then seeing his photo used as a victory banner. That kind of pain doesn't fade, it festers. And it fueled a cycle where the killings only got bloodier. Lil 9, another cousin caught in the feud, was ambushed leaving a gas station, shot 12 times before his car slammed into a tire shop. Just 60 days later, Clout dropped a video shoving Lil 9's picture into a microwave like it was nothing. That wasn't just disrespect, it was psychological warfare turned into music. These weren't just bars, they were body counts set to a beat. By now, Jacksonville wasn't making headlines for talent, it was making them for terror. The city already had one of the highest unsolved murder rates in America, with nearly 70% of homicides going cold. That failure gave rappers the confidence to brag even louder, knowing law enforcement couldn't keep up. Fans even started saying, JSO loves KSOO, mocking the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for failing to lock him down, even while he was practically confessing in songs and skits. And while the cops fell behind, the internet turned the violence into entertainment. TikTok users made dances, YouTubers made reaction videos, and kids across the country rapped along, not even realizing they were chanting about real lives lost. Jacksonville's war wasn't just local anymore, it went viral, with millions treating bloodshed like a trend. But behind the clicks and streams, families were still burying sons and brothers. Retaliation was always waiting, and the tension finally snapped in June 2018, when Youngin Ace himself nearly lost his life in one of the deadliest ambushes the city had ever seen. Ace's life flipped in an instant. He and 3 others were leaving Wasabi, a Japanese steakhouse, when rivals ambushed them at a red light. Bullets shredded the car. Ace's brother and 2 of his closest friends were killed on the spot. Ace barely clung to life, crawling out with critical injuries. That bloody night became the turning point in Jacksonville's war. At first, rumors spread that Ace had died, and Foolio wasted no time mocking him online. But when Ace survived, the hate doubled. Every time Ace dropped a track, Foolio and his crew clapped back with songs taunting his survival while rubbing salt in the wounds of his losses. The feud was so violent that Jacksonville police launched an entire task force just to study rap videos. They weren't watching for fun. They were building murder cases, analyzing lyrics, weapons, and even the backgrounds of music videos for clues. Cops admitted on record, the music wasn't art anymore. It was evidence. And yet, the more blood spilled, the more streams and views piled up. Murder rap was selling like never before. Then came one of the coldest blows, the killing of Foolio's little brother Bibby, only 16 years old. He was outside an apartment complex when shooters sprayed 60 rounds, leaving him dead instantly. Court papers later pointed the finger at Xu as the gunman, accusing him of executing Bibby point blank. Instead of showing remorse, Xu wore Bibby's jersey online, parading it like a prize. It was ruthless, it was heartless, and it cemented Jacksonville as the epicenter of America's deadliest rap war. And here's why it all matters for King Harris. The world he's chasing has left broken families, shattered lives, and bodies in the streets. This isn't about clout, it's about survival. King, raised in a mansion, doesn't understand the price tag that comes with playing gangster around people who truly have nothing to lose. That's why fans, bloggers, and even rappers are warning him now. His road only ends 2 ways, locked up or laid out. Back in Atlanta, the internet roasted him, turning King into the poster boy for what happens when a privileged kid tries too hard to fake the streets. Memes and viral posts clowned him nonstop, proof that the world isn't buying his act, and worse, the streets won't forgive it either. The internet never gave King a break, they dragged him at every turn. People pointed out how he had been raised with luxury, every opportunity handed to him, yet still wanted to cosplay like someone clawing their way out the trenches. That contradiction made him an easy target. Jokes flew everywhere. You can't be eating breakfast in a mansion and then claiming you're starving in the hood at night. The harder King tried to prove himself, the worse it looked. Things exploded at an Atlanta Falcons game, where T.I. was scheduled to perform. King, desperate to flex and talk tough, went live on Instagram and ended up in a heated back and forth with his own parents. Tiny shut him down on the spot, exposing the truth about his privileged upbringing, and T.I. had to step in like a frustrated father who'd had enough. Word spread fast that he even put King in a chokehold just to get him to stop acting out. That moment revealed to the world what was really happening behind closed doors. 2 parents desperately trying to drag their son away from destruction before it swallowed him whole. But instead of humbling him, the embarrassment only fueled King's obsession. He doubled down on his stand on business talk, pushing this fantasy life harder than ever. What he doesn't seem to understand is that the streets don't care who your daddy is, how rich your family is, or what mansion you grew up in. Once you step into that arena, you're just another player, and the game has no mercy. Fans, bloggers, and even street vets kept warning him nonstop. T, I can't save you. Because the truth is, once you cross the wrong person, no amount of money or fame is going to shield you. That's the cold reality King refuses to grasp. Jacksonville already showed the blueprint. Real gangsters with real enemies lost everything. Families ripped apart, brothers gunned down, cousins turning on cousins, and bodies stacking year after year. And yet King still wants to wear that lifestyle like it's a badge of honor. But it's not just dangerous, it's offensive. To the kids who actually grew up in broken homes, surrounded by poverty and real violence, King's act feels like a slap in the face. They lived it for survival. He's playing it for clout. Those kids in the streets didn't choose that life. It was forced on them. And here comes a millionaire's son treating it like a fashion statement. That's why so many people online get heated every time King pulls one of these stunts. To them, it's straight up mockery. It looks like he's playing dress up with trauma that was never his to claim. And the sad part, King doesn't even realize he's wrecking his own legacy in the process. Instead of being celebrated as T.I. and Tiny Son who carved his own lane, he's turning into the poster child for wasted potential. He could have built a real music career off his talent, used his platform to speak on issues that mattered, or flipped his family connections into major business moves. But nah, he's out here chasing street credit he'll never truly earn because it doesn't belong to him. Even battle-tested rappers like Foolio clowned him, reminding King that no amount of boxing clips or training videos can erase the truth. He was born rich. The streets don't respect cosplay, they respect scars, pain, and survival, things King has never had to endure. And that's the lesson people keep throwing back in his face over and over. At the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. You can't scream, "I'm real," while living off your parents' millions. You can't shout, "I got it out the mud," when the mud never touched you. If King truly wanted respect, he'd put in the work the honest way. Build something without leaning on T.I.'s name, grind on his own, and move with humility. That's what earns respect. Not waving a pistol in a parking lot, not faking stories about being raised in the hood. Until King figures that out, he's stuck in an embarrassing cycle, desperately trying to convince the world he's someone he's not. And meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny are left fighting to save their son from spiraling down a road that can only end in tragedy. The people who live through the streets already know the truth. They've seen the consequences up close. But King doesn't seem to listen, and that's what makes his story so tragic. This isn't just about reputation anymore. It's about survival. Sure, fans crack jokes online, but underneath all that, there's a real fear that one day he'll cross the wrong person. And when that happens, it won't be funny anymore. Right now, King Harris is standing at a crossroads. He can either recognize the privilege he was born with and flip his energy into something productive, or he can keep sprinting toward a lifestyle that has swallowed up countless lives before him. The scary part? Time is running out, because in the streets, you don't get second chances. That's why everybody, from fans to fellow rappers to his own parents, is begging him to stop before it's too late. The world is watching to see whether King finally wakes up or keeps spiraling deeper into a role that was never meant for him. So what's your take? Is King Harris too locked into this fake gangster image to ever pull back? Or will he finally wise up and admit the streets aren't for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Trust me, this story is only getting wilder, and you're gonna want to be here for it.